Hello and welcome to National Focus. I am Octavia Prosper. In the headlines, Dominica participates in Global SAI Accountability Initiative. Government continues to support Special Olympics in Dominica, and plans continue to unfold for the construction of Dominica's $1 billion+ international airport. The details of the headline stories and more when we return. Welcome back. The role of the media in disseminating information from the Director of Audit reports was the focus of a stakeholder workshop held on Wednesday, May 17, 2023. Wednesday's workshop was one in a series of consultations being held from the 15th to the 25th of May 2023. Attending the workshop were consultants from the State Audit Office of the Republic of Latvia, Dominica's Auditor General, and members of the local media. The aim of the workshop was to engage local stakeholders to gain a deeper understanding and to develop a project of enhancing the capacity and performance of the Office of the Director of Audit. This initiative is part of the broad mandate of the International Organization of Supreme Audit Institutions to promote and support the independence and performance of supreme audit institutions in developing countries.
We're here from Latvia, which is a country in Northern Europe, and we are working on developing a project on supporting SAI Dominica in their capacity development training to be able to prepare audits for the country of Dominica.
She believes the engagement with the local stakeholders was fruitful.
We had a very interesting meeting with media representatives today. I think the challenges that there are very similar to those that are in Latvia. So in preparing audit reports, auditors are preparing this information to help government administration officers to improve their work. And sometimes the reports are not well digested for the public. So it's always a challenge to prepare reports in a way that the public can also understand and be able to analyze the results of those reports.
The Office of the Director of Audit in Dominica is a successful participant in the Global SAI Accountability Initiative, GSAI, launched in 2022.
Within 3 months, after the end of the financial year, the Accountant General is supposed to prepare the financial statements and submit to the Office of Director of Audit by the 31st of September. So we have 6 months in order to work on those financial statements, in order to have them audited and presented to Parliament within the next budget cycle. When the reports are submitted and tabled, they become public documents.
As Dominica's delegation prepares to participate in the Special Olympics World Summer Games 2023, scheduled for next month, Minister for Culture, Youth and Sports, Honorable Oscar George, reiterates government's stance to support Special Olympics in Dominica. Speaking at the press conference of Digital and Special Olympics on May 12, 2023, Minister George said, government is committed to honoring the Special Olympics Caribbean Sports Ministers Forum Declaration that was signed in 2021.
Special Olympics is in the heart of us, this government. So much so, we have signed a Special Olympics Caribbean Sports Declaration. If you recall, in 2021, this declaration was signed by the Ministry of Sports, acting on behalf of the government of Dominica. And basically, what this declaration says is that the heads of all Caribbean countries, they commit to work together to develop Special Olympics. And that is why you see our Prime Minister and our government is so passionate about Special Olympics. We signed this declaration in 2021, and we want to ensure that we implement all the aspects of this declaration.
The Special Olympics World Summer Games 2023 will be held in Berlin, Germany from June 17 to 25 and will engage over 7,000 Special Olympic athletes in 24 sporting disciplines. Minister George spoke of the significant role that the private sectors and other stakeholders play in the development of sports in Dominica.
At a government level, we commit to working with the Special Olympics. We have provided our own support to support this trip to Germany. And when it comes to sports development, what I would like to say is that the government cannot do it alone. You know, we can provide the facilities, we can provide the resources, we can give advice, we can create the enabling environment for policies, but we alone cannot do it. We seek the assistance from the private sector, you know, the businesses, the clubs, the schools, the sponsors, past players like myself, everyone, all stakeholders have to come on board to ensure that sports is developed in Dominica.
He conveyed his appreciation to telecommunications service provider Digicel Dominica for their unwavering support to Dominica's Special Olympics.
That is why I'm so happy to be here to celebrate with you and to acknowledge the significant contribution made by one of our private sector players in Dominica. And I was advised that Digicel has been contributing to Special Olympics for a long time, for 17 years. That is very significant. And I had some discussions with your chairman, Dennis O'Brien, mostly about telecommunications and how to further advance communications in rural communities across Dominica. But I could sense the passion when we moved into discussing sports. So I know, you know, Special Olympics is in a good place with Digicel. So, Mr. CEO, please convey our deepest level of appreciation and gratitude to your chairman on behalf of the government of Dominica. What I would like to say is that any amount of money spent in sports is money well spent.
Honorable George said he looks forward to further collaboration with Digicel and other key stakeholders in developing sports in Dominica. CEO of the International Airport Development Company, Mr. Samuel Johnson, says plans for the construction of the airport continues to unfold as major preparatory work of the site grounds are ongoing. Government has been working closely with the contractors to ensure the airport is built to suit international standards. Mr. Johnson says a key part of the developer's role is to ensure there are quality control tests.
A brand new national laboratory has been built, which will enable the ongoing testing of concrete and asphalt and soils. The geotech study that is ongoing is also going through there in terms of the soils testing that's going on. I think at last update we were roughly at 160, 150 boreholes.
Okay.
And that I know there was some discussion as to, well, how can you start construction without completing the geotech study?
The airport site expands over 500 acres. Mr. Johnson says, however, certain areas had to be prioritized for testing.
You will appreciate that the key areas in the construction process would be the development of the platform for the airstrip, the runway strip, and the terminal and the facilities. So those areas have been prioritized in the geotech testing, right? So you'd start from the center and go out to be able to build a profile. With the roughly 160 that have been completed, we, according to FAA guidelines, are working with a 60 meter by 60 meter grid.
Okay.
To ensure that we get a complete and cohesive appreciation for all nuances happening in the area.
Mr. Johnson explained why the terminal sites were cleared first.
One of the key areas that we started first was the site which is located where the terminal, and the landside facilities are going to be located. And why did we focus on that area? Because that area was the area where a lot of the cutting was going to happen. One of the things the designers tried to do is to ensure that there was a balanced cut and fill, where 60% cut, 40% fill, knowing fully well that some of the cut material would not be suitable for fill. So we very quickly had to ascertain the quality of the majority of the cut material to do tests and to determine what treatments or what additives or what different methodologies could be used.
Tests were also conducted to examine the load-bearing capacity of the site.
In the development of the platform, the geotech study wanted to ensure that going beneath 6 to 8 meters beneath the finished level, we had a good appreciation for the material and the level of compaction and the load-bearing capacity of the area was properly understood.
The China Railway No. 5 Engineering Group Company Limited, or CR5, was awarded the contract for the International Airport project. The Dominica Labour Party administration has prioritized housing in its quest to build a dynamic Dominica. This has intensified post-Hurricane Maria with the provision of quality and resilient housing. A number of housing projects are currently ongoing across the island, including in the village of Woodfordale. Parliamentary representative for Woodfordale, Honorable Fidel Grant, says under this project, vulnerable residents will be targeted.
What we are building there, we are building 16 three-bedroom units, and that is for the persons of the Woodfordale area. We are looking at mainly not single mothers but single parents, persons who are in need of housing based on their circumstance, and we are pretty much in the foundation stage. We're hoping that in the next few weeks we'll be casting the flooring and moving to block work. We have about 8 of the contractors are all from the Woodfordale village itself, so that is something significant. What we try to do, well, what this government has been trying to do for the past 23 years is build capacity. So we decided that a significant, at least 50% of the houses has to be built by contractors from the Woodfordale area. So you have some contractors based on their skill level and their capacity would be building 1 home, and then there are others who would have received 2 homes.
Minister Grant is pleased with the employment opportunities created with 2 major projects in his constituency, the housing project in Woodfordale and the international airport in Wesley.
The young men who have not been on the housing project, they are working on the airport. So they are, in terms of employment, the housing and the airport has created a number of employment opportunities for persons in the Woodfordale area. But the work is progressing nicely. What I'm happy about is persons have taken ownership of the project. You know, it's Woodfordale is my community. I am building something in my community. I am, you know, it would be good that we could speak to some of the contractors to hear them express their views and their own gratitude, because they felt it, you know, a number of times things happen and they are left on the sidelines. So rather than they being employees, they are employers in this instance.
Housing projects are ongoing in Savant Scott's Head, Centre Grand Bay, Penville, Vacars, Paybush, Egliston, the Kalinago Territory, Point Michel, and Kinfield East. You're watching National Focus. More when we return. Welcome back. The Climate Resilience Execution Agency for Dominica, CRED, in collaboration with the Ministry of Public Works, Public Utilities, and Digital Economy, has hosted a series of workshops on May 17, 2023, for the development of a gender-responsive and socially inclusive road safety awareness communications strategy. The project, funded by the Caribbean Development Bank and the United Kingdom Caribbean Partnership and led by consultant Fred Engineering, is designed to raise public awareness through the production of materials that reflects Dominica's current road safety situation. Minister for Public Works, Public Utilities, and the Digital Economy, Honorable Fidel Grant, has declared the number of road-related accidents as unacceptable. He says government is committed to resolving these issues.
As we all know, road accidents are a significant cause of injury and death around the world, and Dominica is no exception. The safety and well-being of our citizens is of paramount importance for this administration, as we recognize that road safety is a major issue that affects the lives of our citizens. Over the past 10 years, Dominica has recorded over 100 deaths due to road traffic collisions. This is an average of 10 lives lost per year. The number of accidents, injuries, and fatalities on our roads is simply unacceptable. And we are committed as a government to take decisive action to address this issue.
Communication Specialist of Fred Engineering, Mrs. Anne Harry George, pledged to leave no one behind in developing an inclusive strategy that is representative of all road users.
We will leave no one behind. At the crux of this consultancy is being gender responsive and socially inclusive. We welcome the inputs of all stakeholders, people with disabilities, the elderly, women, youth, children, bus drivers, civil society, public sector stakeholders, private sector stakeholders, community, organization, and interest groups. All of you will play an instrumental role in guiding the implementation process because all of you are critical road safety stakeholders, and this is why we are here today.
Chief Executive Officer of CREED, Francine Barron, says the feedback received from the various stakeholders will help strengthen Dominica's policies in regards to road safety in the country.
We are grateful for the work that the consultants are doing with us on this. They are doing research and engaging a wide range of stakeholders in discussions so that they can develop the data and receive feedback that can help inform decisions that we take, policy decisions, and the strengthening of our laws and policies to improve our record of road safety in Dominica and ensure better protection for ourselves, our families, and all road users. The consultants will share further with you on what they are doing, but I hope that you will take the opportunity to share your own perspectives, your recommendations, and observations, so that what is produced at the end of this project is something that is practical, it's fit for purpose, and that will make a positive difference for Dominica.
The project will enhance Dominica's consciousness of how behavior on the road can negatively impact themselves and others. Ms. Barron says citizens are obligated to use roads in a responsible manner. Construction of the Agriculture, Science and Technology Center at 1 Mile in Portsmouth is progressing satisfactorily. The project is aimed at transforming farming and crop production in Dominica and will aid in containing and treating pests and diseases which affect production. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, Blue and Green Economy, Mr. Reginald Sevre, says the project is at an advanced stage with the focus moving away from just physical construction.
The situation now is that we start to recruit individuals to be sent to China for training in tissue culture in facility operations. We have discussed with the Cubans to help us to set up the Londonderry, rehabilitate the Londonderry Center as a tissue culture handling facility. We also know that what is in 1 Mile is already rehabilitated. And also to the Chinese will be sending down under the mission a senior agronomist with expertise in tissue culture management will be coming on island in a couple of weeks or almost a month time to actually start hands-on preparation for the opening and functioning of the facility.
The 1 Mile Agriculture, Science and Technology Center is on course to be opened later this year. Government is also placing close attention on the development of agriculture stations.
We're doing the assessment under the World Bank funded agricultural climate resilience and agricultural livelihood project to ensure that all our agricultural stations are upgraded and are set so that we can pursue the rapid multiplication of planting materials to distribute to farmers across the country.
The government of China is funding the 1 Mile Agriculture, Science and Technology Center. Work on the project began in June 2022. Deputy Governor of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, Dr. Valda Henry, says countries within the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union must focus on their comparative advantage as a path to economic transformation. Dr. Henry says, while in Dominica's case it's food production, she believes the island can do much more in terms of its tourism.
And not just target normal tourism, the sunbathing on the beach, because we don't really have white sand beaches people looking for. But what do we have? Can we focus on medicinal tourism? The next topic for the ECCB at 40 lecture series is in Grenada on May 31st, medicinal tourism. And I think I would ask and beseech all, including especially policyholders, to cue in on that night, to focus, and I'm sure there's lots of studies on that. We have the boiling lake, we have the hot springs, we have sulfur springs, we have all of these things targeting medicinal things. This is the new big hot things, going around. Hot baths, clay for your face, and all of those things. Can we also invest in that? Can we make these sites more accessible? Yes, they're really now more accessible than before, but can we make them even more accessible? And can we promote that in a bigger way? Create for ourselves a niche market for tourism, maybe where we aim even more to the higher end tourism, and as a result help to fuel the growth.
Dr. Henry says it's critical that Dominica differentiates its festivals from others offered in the region.
We have our festivals. Can we make them unique? Because right now everybody's having a festival. So what is unique about our World Creole Music Festival, say compared to the music festival in St. Kitts and Nevis, Jazz Festival in St. Lucia? What is unique about ours? How can we differentiate what it is we have? And to work on that differentiation. It can't be the same old, because if it's the same thing, then why bother to come to Dominica if I've gone to St. Kitts? And now we have the Jazz and Creole, and that's picking up in a big way. How can we promote that more? How can we again differentiate it from the others so at least you stand apart? Because again, going back to Michael Porter, where is value created? In unique things. And the more unique you can make a product, one, the more difficult it is for others to replicate, and the greater value you create, and consequently, you can use that for growth.
She has been Deputy Governor of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank for a year and a half. She says her time there has gone well.
I came in to the ECCB at the time we were still remotely working. For COVID, the measures in St. Kitts had not been removed, and ECCB was still fully remotely working at that time. We went back into office last year, April 1st, in a hybrid manner, and we're still hybridly working. And it has been a good year and a half. I'm in charge of, a number of departments report to me, but one of the areas I'm in charge of, and I'm really excited about it, is change management and culture. And that fits in nice in terms of part of my passion. My passion is about people and growing and letting them be their best self. And the question is, how do we enhance the culture? How do we get employees more engaged so that we can go out to do the transformational work? And that for me has really been, very fulfilling.
She spoke of her role in the policy development of the bank.
In fact, any document having to go to council, I must review, have input in that. And I am truly enjoying that because for me, it fulfills, prior to me going to ECCB, and I didn't know I was going to go to ECCB, that was not even on the horizon for me, at least I didn't see that. But I know in 2020, and I had said that to my staff at VFing, that I was trying to learn, to make sure they could hold on to their own, they could stand on their own. Even when I was involved in, the mass camp management, and I say to them, no, I need to let this go and prepare persons to take over. Because I kept feeling in my bones, and those of you who are familiar with my program, Cutting Edge of Business, that I did on mapping for 10 years, I kept always saying how my bones speak to me. And my bones kept saying towards the end of 2020 that I was moving somewhere. I didn't know where I was going, but I was going to be involved in work on a more macro level. I've done tremendous work in the region, but on a micro level, working with some governments, working with businesses, but not collectively working with all, say, governments on that level. And I just kept feeling that was my next move. Didn't know where it was coming from. And so when the opportunity came for ECCB, even when And I will always say Joanne George, I have to thank her. She was the first person who brought it to my attention. And I was like, nah, I actually called friends to give them the opportunity. But eventually, here I am. And so the opportunity to work at that level, for me, a tremendous one.
The ECCB is celebrating its 40th anniversary this year under the theme, Building Resilience for High and Sustainable Growth. Minister for Health, Wellness and Social Services, Honorable Kasani Laville, says government will continue to meet the needs of the nurses. Speaking at a recognition ceremony for nurses held in observance of International Nurses Day, held on Friday, May 12th, Minister Laville stated that the theme for this year's observance is a reminder of government's responsibility to its nurses.
This theme calls to mind the essential role our nurses play in every facet of healthcare, from patient diagnosis and treatment to healthcare policies. The theme is also a stark reminder that we have a distinct role to take care of our nurses and to ensure that their needs are met as they work to address the global challenges and to improve global health for all. As stated in my radio address earlier this morning, healthcare in any country is very critical, extremely critical, and constantly evolving. As a government, we continue to foster even greater efficiency in delivering quality healthcare, whilst not losing focus of how important that you all are to us.
He noted that in order to maximize the efforts of the nurses, government must meet their needs.
We are aware of the integral part that nurses play as it relates to the future of healthcare. Nurses are innovators in their own right, leading the charge against ill health with visionary ideas. Hence, we realize the need to have an adequate and competent workforce. We are cognizant, however, that in order to maximize the potential of our nurses, there are needs that have to be met. They have to be met.
Minister Laville stated that the investments made to provide the necessary resources is evidence of government's commitment to the nurses.
With this in mind, the government has made significant investments in providing the required infrastructure, human resources and training in various health-related fields, as well as procuring state-of-the-art equipment and medical supplies. We trust that these investments are evidence of the value that we place on our nurses and the important role that you all play. We all can agree to continue to commit to doing more, to doing much more, whilst we actively strive to improve and to do better. We solicit your support to remain focused, to remain compassionate, and to never lose sight of the need to do your best in ensuring that you deliver quality healthcare to those most vulnerable, those most in need.
International Nurses Day was celebrated worldwide under the theme, Our Nurses, Our Future, a global campaign which aims to address global health challenges and achieve better global health for all. As part of the ceremony, departmental nurses and ward sisters were awarded for their outstanding work and dedication. International Nurses Day is celebrated on May 12 annually. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. Be sure to follow GIS Dominica on Facebook, YouTube, and on Twitter. You can also drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm. From all of us here on the GIS News Production team, I am Octavia Prosper. Thanks for watching and stay safe.